our midweek technical analysis video. So jumping straight into things here, we're from where we last left off. As you can see, price has been on the rise. So if you remember from our post-week market review, we established a few levels in this sort of gap that we had in between these red points of interest that we had. And we marked these on our minute 15. So we are therefore going to go on our minute 15. So as you can see, since the market opened up here, we saw a slow and steady bearish decline to around 3,437, which was actually the higher low for this recent higher high that was created. As you can see, since then, throughout the Asian session, we saw an enormous amount of volatility from the buyers, enormous amount of volume from the buyers, driving price up, creating its next high at 3,485, give or take. Price then dropped down, staggered up as we crept closer and closer to that London session. Once we entered the London session, however, as you can see, price actually dropped back down, and then we then began to see some consolidation throughout the day, even throughout the New York session. We then come into Tuesday, as you can see, again, an enormous amount of volume injected into the market throughout the Asian session, driving price up to test that point of interest that was the previous all-time high. As you can see from there, we did see that all-time high touch a new one created, and then price drove itself back down throughout the London session and then into the early hours of the New York session. However, once the New York session got started, we then saw again an enormous amount of volume injected into the market from the buyer side, driving price higher and higher and higher. And as you can see, price is continuing. We are currently trading at 3,573, so a new all-time high for gold, which is actually very, very exciting. We are roughly 740 pips from the previous all-time high at 3,500. So there's actually a lot to take in now. Obviously, we are now trading in a sort of no man's land area, but we will do our best now to sort of mark in a few points of interest. So we're going to go back down to our minute 15, and we're just going to sort of find places that we can see price testing as both support and resistance multiple times, or resistance multiple times, or support multiple times. So a level that we have here is this consolidation level throughout the early hours of this morning into sort of the London session, and we could see that the level of 3,540 was being respected as a resistance and holding price down, and then we also saw the level of around 3,530 act as a support. Obviously, we have now recently seen price push up and above that, and after there, we don't really have any key significant levels. Obviously, I could go down to our minute 5 and we could start marking up lower time frame levels. However, we are mostly doing our analysis on our hourly time frame, so minute 5 levels aren't really important to us. Obviously, minute 15 we can take into consideration because they do show effect on the hourly candles at the hourly time frame. For example, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and mark this level in for you. I'll put it in a green color, and we'll go to hour 1. You can just see what it looks like. It's not very significant. However, the minute 15, the 15-minute time frame levels, you can see that we are seeing this like wedge within those two levels, so they are significant. So we're not going to bother marking up minute 5 levels. So in conclusion, we don't actually have any more points of interest to mark in for gold. However, there is going to be the opportunity to draw in a trend line, so starting from our point A to our point B and dragging it into the future, catching as many wicks as we can without crossing the body of any candlesticks. You can see that we are definitely moving in on that uptrend, and the uptrend and the bullish volume is becoming stronger and stronger and stronger. Obviously, you can now see volume fizzling out since we came to the end of the New York session today. However, price is still driving up. We'll go ahead and check our economic news. As you can see, most of the news is about on track for an all-time high or now created a all-time high. As you can see, we've now seen a 6 minutes ago 1.23% higher at 3,593, a record high. We will correct them here and say that the most recent all-time high was 3,574, but concluding our midweek technical analysis, there's not much to go over. The only thing that I will say to you traders now, the market is in quote-unquote no man's land, an area in which prices never tested at before. So this is new for every single person. No one has ever traded at this level before, so it's new to all of us, and we're just going to have to sort of wait for price to start moving sideways, have some bearish retracements to then for us then to be able to establish some significant levels that we can take into account. But what I will say is, if we see this continuation, the only level that we have to take into consideration right now is this level of 3,540. If we do see price come back down to this level, we're then going to look to see if price can test it as a support to then push up and continue on further. Going down to our hour one, you can see that the strength of this bull run is very, very significant. We have been sort of pushing up all the way from sort of mid August. So obviously we had this nice sort of order flow, this nice price action here, but as you can see now, it is just completely skyrocketing. It's inevitable though that people will traders will start entering short orders, especially as price creeps higher and higher, creating new all-time highs. For example, we are currently trading at another level that's never been traded at before for gold. So it just goes to show that there's a lot of stuff happening economically around the world. Normally gold moves like this in a way when the dollar is weak. We spoke about this in our main channel. For example, if I show you today for the dollar, you can see that there is a very, very negative impact for the dollar sort of since the end of July. Matter of fact, we have been in a downtrend with the dollar for quite some time now. However, just based off of what I can see in front of me, we are at a significant level for the dollar index. So we could at some point see sort of a divergence in price, and price just completely plummet from this area onwards. So as long as price keeps creating new all-time highs, we're just going to accept it for what it is. If you are in long orders, congratulations to you. I'm sure you are profiting very, very nicely, but the only level that we really have to take into consideration is this level of 3,540. Obviously, in our post-week market review, we'll be able to cover more of the market, as the market would have moved for another 3 more days, and we'll be able to establish some new points of interests, and we'll be able to have a better understanding of what the market could potentially do in the future. But as I did say, for the last couple of weeks now, it was inevitable that gold was going to create a new all-time high, and as you can see, gold has created a new all-time high. So let's just give my for my good technical analysis. I hope you are enjoying. If you are enjoying, make sure you leave a like in the and leave a comment below. Let me know if you are enjoying this and benefiting from these technical analysis videos. I know I get a lot of messages, or I know our team gets a lot of messages inside of our customer support saying how good they are. So that's going to be our midweek technical analysis video. As always, I hope you've all enjoyed, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.